To trust me is now your only chance to get to Rivendell. And my story...
Beg pardon, sir. I've come to bid you good night. Sir, I'm a busy man, and I was asked to look out for a hobbit, name of Baggins in particular, and going by the name of Underhill. And that seems to fit you well enough, if I may say so. He even described you, sir, did Gandalf.
Gandalf?
Yes, sir. Now, where was I? One thing and another, oh, yes. I have a letter I was to have sent, but I put it by safe. And then I couldn't find nobody willing to go to the Shire, and then there was these dark men looking for Baggins, and that Ranger Strider asking questions, too.
He came to offer me his help.
If I was in your plight, I wouldn't take up with a ranger.
Then who would you take up with, Butterbur? A fat innkeeper who only remembers his own name because people shouted at him all day.
Strider.
Will you go with him?
Me? Leithbury? I wouldn't do it for any money. Anyway, what are these horsemen after?
I'm not sure, but I fear they come from...
They come from Mordor. From Mordor, Barlaman, if that means anything to you.
Oh, save us. That's the worst news that has come to Bree in my time. I must go and bar the doors quick. You do want looking after, and no mistake. Good night. Spooks or no spooks, they won't get in the pony so easy. Don't you worry till the morning. Good night, Mr. Baggins. Mr. Underhill, I should say.
Well, are you going to open that letter?
The seal's intact, at least, and it's Gandalf's own. He wrote it here at the pony. Dear Frodo, bad news has reached me here. I must go off at once. Leave Bag End soon, before the end of July. July? You can trust the landlord, and may meet a friend of mine on the road called by some Strider. Make for Rivendell, where if I do not come, Elrond will advise you. Yours in haste, Gandalf. P.S. Do not use it again, not for any reason whatever. Do not travel by night. P.P.S. Make sure it is the real Strider. There are many strange men on the roads. Then there's a verse. What is your name, your true name, Strider?
I am Aragorn, son of Arathorn. And if by life or death I can save you, I will. My broken sword will be forged anew, as your verses say, I think. So, that is settled then. Tomorrow we shall make for Weathertop, a hill halfway from here to Rivendell. Still, only the enemy would have hindered Gandalf, and I'm troubled for the first time since I've known him. But don't give up hope. This business of ours will be his greatest task, and he is greater than you Shire folk know.
It's Mr. Merry, sir. It must be. Oh, I've seen them. Frodo, I've seen them. Black Riders.
Black Riders? Where?
Here in Bree. I sat here for a bit, then went out. I felt something near me, then it slid away, and I followed it. It seemed to draw me.
You have a stout heart, but it was foolish.
Who would...
This is a friend of Gandalf's. I'll explain later.
No, the help found me. It was as if I'd had an ugly dream. I don't know what came over me.
I do. Their breath. Now they will all know the news. You must all stay here and not go to your rooms tonight. Nob can put bolsters in your beds and mats for your hair. I'll build up the fire and blow out the candles, and you must sleep.
As they prepared for sleep in the inn at Bree, darkness lay on Buckland. A mist strayed in the dells and along the river bank. The house at Crick Hollow, which Frodo and his companions had left now so many days ago, stood silent. Fatty Bolger opened the door cautiously and peered out. As he stared out into the gloom, a black shadow moved under the trees. Terror seized him. He shrank back. Then he shut and locked the door. Fatty Bolger had not been idle. As soon as he saw dark shapes creep from the garden, he knew that he must run for it or perish. He was found at the nearest house, crying and babbling.
No, 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 not me. I haven't got it. I haven't got it.
So the brandy bucks blew the horn call of Buckland that had not been sounded for 100 years. The dark shapes fled from the house. They rode like a gale to the north gate. Let the little people blow. Sauron would deal with them later. Meanwhile, they had another errand. They knew now for certain that the house was empty and the ring had gone. They rode down the guards at the gate and vanished from the Shire. In the early night, Frodo awoke to find Strider sitting alert in his chair. His eyes gleamed in the light of the fire. He soon went to sleep again, but his dreams were disturbed with the noise of wind and galloping hoofs. In the morning, Strider roused them all and led the way to their bedrooms. The windows had been forced open, the beds tossed about, and the bolsters slashed and flung upon the floor. The mats were torn to pieces. And every horse and beast in the stable gone. Never has such a thing happened in my time. What are we coming to?
Dark times. We will leave at once. We shall be packed in a few minutes. Ponies won't help us escape horsemen. How much are you prepared to carry on your backs?
As much as we must.
All right.
I can carry enough for two.
Oh.
Finally, they purchased a half-starved pony from Bill Fernie, loaded it up with as much of their baggage as they had a heart to give it, and at last left the village behind. On the third day, they came out of a wood and entered a wide, flat expanse of country, much more difficult to manage. The ground now became damp, and the flies began to torment them. The air was full of tiny midges that crept up their sleeves and breeches and into their hair.
I'm being eaten alive. You call this place Midgewater? There are more midges than water.
Oh, Mr. Frodo, what do they live on when they can't get hobbits? Ooh, take that. That.
The next day, the 4th, was a little better. And on the 5th, they left the last straggling pool and reed bed behind them. The land before them began steadily to rise again. The highest of the hills in the distance was a little separated from the others. It had a conical top, slightly flattened at the summit.
That's Weathertop. The old road which we have left far away passes not far from its foot. It's not certain what we shall find there. It's close to the road.
But surely you were hoping to find Gandalf there.
Yes, but the hope is faint. Unless by luck we arrive almost together. If the riders fail to find us in the wilderness, they're likely to make for Weathertop.
Already the hobbits were getting used to much walking on short rations. Shorter at any rate than what in the Shire they would have thought barely enough to keep them on their legs.
You know, Frodo, you're looking twice the hobbit that you used to.
Very odd, considering there is actually a good deal less of me. I hope the thinning process won't go on indefinitely, or I shall become a wraith.
Don't speak of such things.
I wonder who made this path and those stones. I'm not sure I like it. It has a